Please welcome Bryan Meszaros.
Good morning. Good morning. I have to apologize for the voice. I was so excited about coming here today. I went out last night and partied really hard, and I lost it. But I'm in check right now, and I have my water, so we're good to go. But no, in all honesty, apologize for the slight loss of the voice. So it is awesome to be here. I'm at Citi Field, crazy. And again, thank you to Megan and to all you guys for coming. This is truly an honor. And it's always kind of cool when I'm presenting and just looking at the lineup of all the speakers that are out there. And some of them I'm familiar with, and some of them I'm not. So there's a lot to be gained for today. There's a lot of learnings, and I'm really excited to be here. Before I kind of dive into it, I want to kind of do a little bit of a trivia, because I almost wonder, do people really understand the significance of being here in Flushing? So I just want to take you back to the year 1964. So there was two significant things that happened in that year. And so I'm just wondering, any ideas with 64? All right, 64.
Beatles.
All right, the Beatles, good. All right, you're onto it. Yes, that's one of them. Ooh, very good. I did not expect anyone to get that. 1964, Shea Stadium opened. The Mets actually started in 62. They were playing at the Polo Grounds, but 64 was the first year that the Mets played here in Citi Field. The next one, and you said it before, was the World's Fair in 64-65, the celebration of the 20th century. So what was special about the World's Fair?
Jetpacks.
All right, jetpacks. That's good. And the telephone, but there was a pavilion, the famous pavilion, that sort of shook everyone's mind. One last guess. Anyone? No. The answer for the $200 Jeopardy question is the IBM Pavilion. So I think this is one that's somewhat overlooked, but someone that actually has a pretty significant impact on everything that we do today. So the IBM Pavilion that was designed by the Ames agency. So what this was basically 500 people sat almost on in an auditorium like this, and they were pushed up into this elliptical type of environment. And on 9 screens, this projection story unfolded. It was called Think. And so this really was this idea to kind of talk about where IBM was going. But what's really significant about this, and what I always kind of find amazing, was that this ultimately, I think, sets the ground for us as an industry. Now, we've always had visuals, we've always had audio and video, but this was really the first time that an agency or someone put this all together to create this really interesting experience. And so I think that kind of sets the tone for what I wanted to talk about today, which is this balance between design and AV. So as Megan said, hi, I am Bryan Meszaros. I am, the CEO of OpenEye Global, a digital experience design agency. I'm also the president of the Society for Experiential Graphic Design. I'm actually the first president to take over that organization as president coming from a digital background. It was a traditional design organization, about 2,500 members globally. And so here I come in as the disruptor of that organization. And just because I was bored and I had nothing else to do, I said to my wife, I need something else. I'll just try teaching. So I also started last year back in my alma mater at Seton Hall University, teaching a class in digital engagement and digital experiences in physical environments. It's a mouthful. And then you could continue to, obviously we're on social, to follow the story of OpenEye Global. So before I go, another story about baseball. I love baseball. It's absolutely crazy in how many games I go to. I drag my poor wife, who I've converted to a Phillies fan. Sorry, I know where I'm at. Thank you. I'm hopeful for a playoff run this year. I'm very hopeful. But what's kind of funny is that as an organization, I always try to find means to inject elements of things that I love into the culture of OpenEye. And so a couple years ago, I took my crew out to Arizona, and we went for spring training. And we had this idea of like, well, what if OpenEye had a mascot? Because we love baseball so much. So friends of ours, actually in San Diego, run a design agency that design close to 60% of the minor league logos that you see out there. And so we hooked up with them, they did us a solid, and Pixel was born. And so this is kind of this little fun part of it. Here we are, this design agency, and we have a mascot. So this is sort of my mindset of how do I continue to be disruptive and do things that are just completely different, but really hone in on design, even though we do work in a digital domain. So Pixel was born, and actually, shoot, I'm sorry, this is embarrassing because I always, hey Ed, can you, I need, all right, see, there we go. See, I never leave home without the hat, and we're at a baseball game. So I need Pixel for that. But Pixel is part of our culture. This is who we are as a design agency. Thanks, Ed. That's why I bring him along. As I said, just a little bit about us. We work across a multitude of different industries. There's not one vertical that we don't seem to touch, from QSR to transportation, to financial, to aquariums, to retail. We get pulled in a variety of different directions, but the challenge still exists for us is how do we take technology and how do we take design and combine the two to create experiences that make each one of these environments impactful and allow the customer to connect back to the brand while they're at that particular environment. So just so you know, because circa, went back to the archives, circa 2004, I think this photo is from, OpenEye started in 2001. So we are close to 19 years old, but we started doing installs. OpenEye just didn't pop up overnight and say, you know what, we're gonna do these experiences. It has been 19 years of learning and watching the industry evolve. So I came from doing installations of screens, but I had a design background. But yet the market and the industry at that time, that was all that it was. Sold a screen, sold a piece of software, and away you go. And then over the years, we started to get pulled into this, notion of, well, what do we do with it? How do we really allow the technology to be part of the environment? Or how do we come up with a strategy that actually makes this turn an ROI for our customers? So then it started to evolve. And then I also started to realize that I have to be adaptive. As an organization, we have to be adaptive. All of you have to be adaptive. Because what I started to see, and I think what a lot of you are seeing now, is that it's not just focused on the technology. There's the design aspect of it. There's working with architects and integrators and brand specialists and wayfinding specialists. You name it, there is another type of agency that is popping up that we all have to figure out how to collaborate and work with. And so what I learned and how OpenEye continued to evolve was being open and understanding and how do we evolve our practice, in order to collaborate and to deliver more meaningful experiences that are out there, because that's what clients were asking for. They didn't care about the technology as much anymore. They cared about the impact of it out there in their space. And so that meant I needed to get to the root of understanding why. How does that really drive the value of technology? And so that's where, again, I had to be adaptive. A lot of it was going into the unknown, terms I didn't know, organizations I was unaware of. But again, realizing that that's the way that we needed to continue to evolve. So just a little bit about our mentality. We always think strategic. We always approach a project not first looking about or thinking about the technology, thinking about how do we be strategic in creating an experience that connects the customer back to the environment that they're in. We'll often say connecting people to place. We also like to immerse ourselves in our work as a creative agency, and these are all just behind the scenes footage of stuff that I've archived or projects we worked on, but we really take our work seriously. That's actually our creative director, which we tortured to dress him up as a delusional prisoner for an experience that we created. But the point is that we have continued to evolve as an agency to where we're now really focusing on these experiences and how do we make them more lifelike? How do we use technology not only from the way we're communicating, but the way that we craft our experiences behind the scenes. We're filming, We're thinking of unique ways to take this kind of experience and translate this into a physical environment. We also like to make stories come alive. So our friend Slimer, which we brought to life for another project, Ghostbusters, which some of you might have seen. But a big aspect of what we do, and I think of where experience design is going, he likes to take selfies, so it's cool. He'll post them on his social later. But what we'd like to do is have these experiences come to life. A big part of this balance is storytelling. And even though you might be sitting there and thinking, well, what I do is I spec out systems and solutions, the reality is that that's a key component of making these experiences come to life. We as content designers and designers are creating experiences to tell a story, but we need that collaboration in order to bring them to life. And then we also look at it from this kind of point of view of we're all thirsting for these one-of-a-kind experiences. These are things that our clients want to deliver to their customers. These are things that we as humans naturally gravitate to. We want these kind of custom experiences that are out there. But again, all these experiences just don't come alone through the digital only. They are a combination of creativity on the technology side, but also on the design side. We also aim to create memorable moments. I think it's a part too where sometimes it's not kind of thought about. The beauty of technology is that there's such a great opportunity to have such an impactful experience. Simple, yet very dynamic and funny and playful. I'm actually gonna take a drink of water, but this is a perfect segue because what I wanted to show you is that this is a funny experience that we created just recently with Jimmy Kimmel. So we had this opportunity to say, well, how do we create a lifelike interview for a customer coming to a Madame Tussauds in Los Angeles? And so we ended up having this opportunity to work with Jimmy Kimmel to film this one-of-a-kind experience where you are interviewed by Jimmy Kimmel and have this really unique takeaway. So there was really this drive, how do you create this balance again of having this authentic experience to make you feel like you're being interviewed, and then you have this pretty cool dynamic takeaway. So I'll let, again, my creative director, Chris, kind of give you a little excerpt from his recent interview with Jimmy Kimmel.
Hello.
Well, I do want to thank you for being here tonight, and I love your outfit, by the way. Where did you get that?
In-N-Out Burger.
I didn't even know they sold clothes. Good for them. Now, I read in a magazine that you're on this crazy celebrity fad diet where you only eat one thing a day. What is that?
Oh, I think little tiny kittens are...
That's right. I've heard those are delicious. Now, I hope you don't mind me asking, but everybody in the country is fascinated with your love life. We're fascinated, right, guys? Are you dating anyone right now?
Probably my Aunt Gertrude.
That's interesting and weird, mostly weird. And who is the last person you had a romantic dream about?
Oh, goodness. I would probably have to say it was George Washington.
No way, me too. It was sensual and educational.
So the premise behind that is that you go into this and you're prompted with certain questions, and then you give answers, but you don't know what the input is going to look like. So hence the output that you see there as a fun takeaway. Just to kind of continue on sort of our mindset, again, emotion. You know, one of the things that I think is often forgot about, especially I think from your side, is that the visual solutions and things that you put in place combined with design have an emotional impact on the customer's experience. We often forget about that. I think we view it from one side, but we don't often look at it from the other to really how much emotion plays in this. And lastly, the one thing I'll be honest, we collaborate very heavily with AV integrators. We are a digital experience design agency. We understand technology, but by no means are we really the people that go out there all the time and do installs or do spec of different experiences. A couple of the ones that you've seen in the past, we worked with Electrosonic. You know, we've worked with SageNet. We've worked with a bunch of integrators that help us bring these experiences to life. So all right, so this kind of comes to the sort of the whole meat of today, and I think even sort of what I've been trying to drive to is this balance between physical design and AV. You know, where do you draw the line? You know, where does one leave off at? Where does the other pick up at? And I'll be honest with you, I don't have the answer. we are in such a very unique time right now where AV integrators, I think everyone out here, as you guys are being asked, like, what role do I play, or how do I even bring design, or what value is design to me? And from my side, and I'm also kind of at the point too of where do I stop as a design agency? I have to understand technology, but how far over do I go in actually building solutions for it? But yet that's a key component of what we do. That's part of our tool chest. And I think there's just this very interesting balance that continues to wage on now and in the future. In the past, it was very, very easy. There was a line there. And I think the line is gone. And it's always evolving. And it's a question that will continue to live on. But just to kind of set what we're talking about. So, I think experience design is such a broad term. I don't think we really have truly defined what it actually means. And I look at it, experience design is everything that sort of encompasses from digital signage to interactives, to immersive environments, to visual storytelling, to data visualization, to audio, to video. All these are elements of that big term. I kind of look at experience design as sort of the umbrella. And all these things that we do, all these ideas that we put out there about audiovisual technology and methods for integration and system design, these are all aspects of it. And I think what that does is that forces us to really think about collaboration, and also it forces us to be adaptive. There's that word. We have to be adaptive in everything that we do, because we are being asked and being pushed into designing something and creating something that is sometimes beyond what we're capable of delivering. We need the assistance of other organizations. We need the help of experts in a particular segment. I often kind of say, and I'll say it again, no one out there does everything. It's impossible. If you say you do, it's a lie. And I think that's a realization we need to come to as an industry, because we need to continue to look at collaboration. So I thought something that'd be kind of really interesting to do prior leading up to this, because I thought, all right, how do I get the audience to be part of this? I know, we have the great app that's around here, but I decided to go to Twitter and started to put some questions out there. I know Megan saw some of them. I think a few other people saw some of them. I got some answers that probably were like, yeah, that's not cool, but I didn't care. And so I thought it'd be fun and playful. So what I ended up doing is I put questions out there that I thought in some cases would help with this conversation. And I was just curious myself, because sometimes you get so engrossed in the industry or your work that you don't really see what's going on or how people perceive it. So the first question I posted was basically, when working on a digital signage project, who should dictate placement? And so I gave four answers on there: the AV integrator, the architectural firm, or the brand design agency. And I was actually kind of surprised that people actually knew what I was talking about with a brand design agency. I think that kind of starts to show me that we as an industry are starting to recognize other groups that are out there that we need to be adaptive or working with to figure out a solution. So interestingly, and I was kind of happy to see this, was that it was pretty much all the above, which then started to make me feel really comfortable. Because now I'm thinking, all right, we're actually starting to understand collaboration. We're actually understanding that we are just a small part of the experience as an AV integrator. We need 4 to 5 groups, sometimes on projects, that are helping us to execute onto it. And then that goes to, this idea of placement. And I think these are areas, and these words, it'll go question, word. And the words are significant because I think those are key areas that us, or you guys, as an industry, have an opportunity to be adaptive and help position your business to work more closely on these experiences. But I think you have to understand that collaboration is a corner of all of these. So placement, as I asked in the question, placement should not be just dictated only by the AV company. There's too many other people that have a stake in the environment, from museums to transportation to airport design. It is a collaboration of the architect, the AV guy saying, no, you can't run a cable there. The electric does not go there. Gravity will screw that up. That is a fact check. But then there's this amazing collaboration as far as how do we take technology as a design element and pull that into this experience. So the next question I put up there is, should AV integrators offer creative services? So I'm just curious if you can raise your hand. If the answer is, if you agree with yes, if you can raise your hand. Okay, cool. If the answer is no, if you can raise your hand. All right, so we're pretty much about in the mix. And as you can see, that's pretty much where this poll ended up coming from. I ended up pulling some tweets that I actually thought were interesting. Megan, sorry. Yours is a good one. I had to put that on there. But I think it's interesting in the response back from the industry as to how they perceived the use or delivery of creative services. So, in my personal opinion, I don't think AV integrators should be doing creative services. And so I know there's some comments that are on there. The one I agree with, I think it was at the bottom, where my concern is that the industry continually looks at design opportunities as just handed to they can make graphics person. And that's what I fear the most, is that there are times when design will be undervalued and looked at as just, we can just offer it as a service. There's too many elements, as I tried to say before, the strategy, the emotion, the behaviors, that I don't think is all that AV integrators are prepared to invest in on a team to deliver that kind of experience. I think the collaboration is where it best comes in at. You need that balance. You need a design agency that understands how to target an audience. You need a design agency that understands how to work with the client's assets and the brand message. You need all of that, but you, as the integrator, serve a role in saying, this is how far you can push that. This is how we can make that impactful. This is how we can deliver that into an environment to allow you to be more creative. And I think that's, again, that idea of collaboration. So as I said before, design, I think sometimes design is undervalued. I think we go into projects thinking the technology is the higher the budgets, design should be less than. And I go into projects thinking, no, design should be more than AV. So we battle, which is natural. But I think at the end of the day, what I realize and what I've always instilled in us as an organization is that there's collaboration, there's value on both ends of the aisle. I look at it and basically saying that my design, my experiences are only as good as the technology that's behind the team, behind the experience and how it's being delivered. And I only get that great experience by working with solid integrators and solution designers that get my vision, that understand what it is that we're trying to do. And so that's how I end up perceiving that question. The next one, should design agencies employ a technologist? I am so happy this went to 92%. So happy, because I will say, as a team as OpenEye, and Ed is my witness in the back there, Ed is an IT specialist. He is an AV professional. Ed is part of my team, and Ed, along with a couple of other people, help us understand how far we can push a design before we need to really roll up our sleeves to figure out a solution. We are constantly going out there and looking at trends. We are looking at the way technology can be used, different experiences. We're constantly out there. But I need to have that familiarity. I need to have that familiarity because I want to work with you. But I want to be able to work with you and articulate what it is I'm trying to achieve. I serve no purpose to you if I can't tell you what it is I'm trying to get off the ground. Or I serve no purpose to you if you talk back to me with an opposing idea and I have zero idea what you're talking about. That won't work. That needs to happen. That needs to stop. And it's really nice to see that on the AV side, you're understanding that agencies like ours and several others that you'll hear from today are taking on this role not to go against you, but to better establish collaborative opportunities. So that goes back again to the technical part of it. There is this balance. We, as an experience design agency, we love technology. I'm not gonna lie. We love what we're doing. I love tinkering with things. We have a ton of stuff in our lab. We also design some of our own experiences, our solutions. Again, some of the smaller ones, some of the large ones, we're working with you guys. We have no reason in being there, and we need that collaboration. And again, I go back that these experiences, if we do not have a solid infrastructure behind it, they will not be taking off the ground and would be of no value to anyone. So the last question I asked is, should content management be offered by an AV integrator? This was an interesting one. 88% said yes, 13% said no. My honest opinion about this one is AV integrators should not offer content management services. And the reason behind that, and I'm open for debate on this one, is that content management is just not dropping things into a playlist and away you go. Anyone could do that, the client could do that. We do content management for a variety of our clients. We work with them through the life of an experience, but we apply strategy. We apply logic, we apply analytics. We apply the learnings that we take from the design side on how they should be thinking about delivering content to an audience that continues to evolve. So there's a higher degree of content management that I think that needs to be out there. So that's hence my answer. I saw some eyes that are rolling. I'm not here to offend or to devalue. That's just from the experience that I have had and how we've always approached that. But from a support perspective, again, it's collaboration. There's help desk, there's system management, there's developing a CMS, there's the back end to it. I need your help. That's it. You need my help. That's how this works. That's the balance of it. And I think these are these areas that ultimately, you kind of have to look at as you continue to evolve. And I continue just to use that word adaptive. All of these are things that we have learned, I think the industry has learned, as an organization we have learned, on how to create this balance between how do we work with AV integrators, how do we work with other designers, and bringing these experiences together. So, as I kind of wrap up, just a couple of fun things. So as I said, I'm from OpenEye Global. We do a couple of things constantly. So we do a podcast. We have a couple episodes that are coming out now. It focuses on design, culture, and experience, hence DCX. You will find a variety of groups on there. We just did one last month with Rich Ventura at NEC. We have another one with VIA Systems that's coming out. We have different design organizations that have come onto it. We always try to find a mix of different vendors and different groups that we work with, or even opposing agencies, just to get our thoughts out there. And then also, we write books. I know we're a digital organization, but we print books. So we write a series of ebooks. I have a bunch of copies that are here of this that I'll spread out later for you guys, but this is our A to Z guide to digital experience. And basically, it's dissecting what's in our heads on how we view digital experience, going through every letter of the alphabet, hence A to Z. Pretty creative, I think. But we talk about it in a way that we hope is sort of impactful to you guys. Little tidbits that you can pull out of there. And we even have different excerpts of agencies that we work with on how they view experience design, or just different elements for digital signage. It's on our website, but there's also books that are here as well for you guys to take. And so lastly, I teased it on Instagram. So about a year ago, one of the things I always kind of thought that was lacking in this industry was having a really cool event or society that brought designers, integrators, vendors, CMS, everyone together for a non-traditional networking event. No more, here's the cocktail, Frank, sir, or here's your Coors Light. No, I was like, no, we gotta change that. As an industry, we need to be who we are. I mean, we like to gravitate to cool experiences. We like to network, but we have to do it in an environment that's a little bit more casual and comfortable. So last year during Digital Signage Week, we rented out the Other Half Brewery over in Red Hook. I don't know if you guys anyone know the Other Half? Because then it kind of sets the tone. All right, so amazing IPAs. and we got barbecue. And we had about 60 people that showed up that were on both sides of the aisle that networked for the entire evening. Cool environment, Red Hook, Brooklyn, not the kind of place you would go to if you visit New York. Get off Manhattan. Earlier this year, actually a couple months ago, we did the same thing over in London. We went over to London, we went into an area, and we ended up renting out, we got a shuffleboard club. Shuffleboard club, craft pizza, beer. And we had 100 people show up for that. And we had designers, end users, AV integrators. We had a waiting list, let me put it that way. But it was a fun atmosphere. And so we continue this trend, and we're doing another one of these events during Digital Signage Week at Houston Hall, which is on Manhattan, but we're doing an Oktoberfest. We have the polka band, we have good beer. But really, the whole purpose behind the Experience United Social Club was just this idea that I preached about before, is being open to reach across and being able to connect and work with and get more in a comfortable setting for designers, for end users, for AV integrators to integrate with one another. And that's really been, I think, the whole mission of, in part, OpenEye, in part, myself. And I love what Megan is doing, and other organizations too, in really bringing both of these groups together, because that's the only way this continues to evolve. And this conversation about how do you balance both really comes to the forefront. So again, I thank you, Megan. She is awesome. The speakers you have lined up are really cool today, and thank you to everyone for coming out. So, thank you.